And then there were 14.
Prizes like the Jags and the Seahawks looking to upset the odds. We know Kansas City and Philadelphia will be getting their popcorn ready as they enjoy those first round buys.
A wacky, wild, and adventurous 18-week NFL regular season is over. With playoff season finally upon us, let's rank all 14 postseason participants from worst to first in our super wildcard edition of the Power Rankings. Number 14, Miami Dolphins. Last time's ranking, 18. Well, it certainly wasn't pretty, but the Dolphins' roller coaster of a 2022 regular season culminated in a return to the playoffs. Third stringer Kyler Thompson did just enough to lead Miami past the New York Jets in a defensive slugfest. Jason Sanders and the defense did most of the heavy lifting, though. A Buffalo Bills win over the New England Patriots was the final outcome Miami needed to sneak in, and they indeed got help from their wildcard opponent. So, the Dolphins are in for the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Their hopes come down to getting a healthy Tua Tagovailoa cleared for this game against the Bills. With all due respect to Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson, there is just no way Miami wins in Buffalo with one of them under center. If Tua can play, then it's game on. Miami split the season series with Buffalo and nearly upset the division foes in a snow-filled game at Highmark Stadium back in Week 15. So, they can definitely pull this off if they have their number one QB. Number 13, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time's ranking, 15. With the NFC South division locked up, the Buccaneers only played Tom Brady and other key starters for parts of the first half in Week 18. Tampa lost 30-17 to the Atlanta Falcons in a meaningless game, though it also marked the end of a too-impressive streak. 1. Brady suffered his first losing season as the main starting quarterback. 2. It was technically his first ever loss to the Falcons. The Bucs were just the best of a lackluster bunch in the NFC South, and now they have to face a 12-win Dallas Cowboys team in the wildcard round. On paper, the Cowboys are the much better team, but Brady is 7-0 against Dallas, and the Cowboys have a knack for, well, not exactly rising to the occasion in big games. Tampa Bay beat Dallas 19-3 at AT&T Stadium back in Week 1, but the Cowboys caught fire from there and locked down the NFC's top wildcard spot. Does Brady's dominance of America's team continue, or does the all-around better team send Tampa packing? Number 12, Seattle Seahawks. Last time's ranking, 16. It was probably closer than it should have been, but the Seahawks barely squeaked past the Baker Mayfield-led Los Angeles Rams at Lumen Field in overtime to secure a 9-8 record. Seattle got the biggest helping hand imaginable when the Detroit Lions stunned Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field on Sunday. That meant Seattle was in and Green Bay was out. What a remarkable one-year turnaround for GM John Schneider and head coach Pete Carroll. Seattle is going to the playoffs 10 months after trading away franchise star quarterback Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. And it's all thanks to the career turnaround of Geno Smith and a stacked rookie class headlined by Charles Cross, Kenneth Walker, and Tariq Woolen. The Seahawks reward? A visit to Levi's Stadium, where they'll meet the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs for the first time since the 2013 NFC Championship game. Regardless of what happens, Seattle surpassed all expectations in 2022. And with 2 first-round picks in their possession, there's no telling how much they could improve in 2023 and beyond. Number 11, Baltimore Ravens. Last time's ranking, 12. Baltimore lost 3 of their final 4 games, but the hot 8-4 start with Lamar Jackson prior to his knee injury was enough to help the Ravens cruise into the postseason. And Tyler Huntley did his part to help Baltimore avoid missing the playoffs for the second straight year, and with Jackson likely to suit up in the wildcard round, the Ravens can finally get back to making some real noise in the wide-open AFC. The Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals will meet in the postseason for the first time ever. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd versus Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Peters, Marcus Williams, and Marlon Humphrey. What a chess match that'll be. Oh, and I guess Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow has a pretty nice ring to it as well. Number 10, New York Giants. Last time's ranking, 11. Anything the Giants achieve from here is just gravy. The G-Men weren't even supposed to be a playoff team in 2022, yet here they are. GM Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Dable came in and installed a culture that had this young rebuilding squad believing in themselves. Saquon Barkley's bounce-back year, Daniel Jones' success as a game manager, and the vastly improved defense propelled New York to a 9-7-1 finish. The result? The franchise's first winning season and playoff appearance since 2016. The resilient and opportunistic Giants now get a showdown with the Minnesota Vikings on Super Wildcard Weekend. Given Minnesota's problems in the secondary, as well as Kirk Cousins' hot and cold play, this is the type of matchup that the Giants fans should feel somewhat good about. Minnesota is definitely on upset alert this weekend. Number 9. Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time's ranking, 10. What an incredible turnaround for the Jaguars in year 1 under head coach Doug Peterson. This team lost 6 of their first 8 games and 8 of their first 10, but look where they are now. Jacksonville closed out the season on a 6-1 run, defeating the banged-up Tennessee Titans in a winner-go-home Week 18 tilt to win the franchise's first division title since the 2018 campaign. The AFC South champions have little time to celebrate, with Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers coming to town on Super Wildcard Weekend. T-Law versus Herbert will be grade A theater, and something tells us this won't be the only playoff matchup between these two young phenom quarterbacks. Number 8. Los Angeles Chargers. Last time's ranking, 7. 1 year after missing out on the postseason in one of the most heartbreaking ways possible, the battle-tested Bolts hung in there and punched their first ticket to the playoffs since 2018. Herbert continued his MVP-like play and powered the Chargers to a 10-win season. Now, the Bolts must travel to Duval County to take on Trevor Lawrence and the surging Jaguars. It's a showdown in which something has to give. The Chargers have a knack for blowing big games, and the Jaguars have endured very limited success as an NFL franchise. But one of these young phenom quarterbacks will pick up their first career playoff win. Number 7. Dallas Cowboys. Last time's ranking, 6. The Cowboys won at least 12 games in back-to-back seasons for the first time since '95. The 1995 squad, of course, was the last year Dallas won the Super Bowl. Cooper Rush saved Dallas' season by winning 4 of 5 starts while Dak Prescott was sidelined. Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, and CeeDee Lamb lifted the offense, while Micah Parsons turned in a monster season with 13.5 sacks and 3 fumble recoveries. Dallas fans don't need reminders about how great the team was in the regular season, though. This team's season will be defined by how they fare in the postseason. No excuses this year. Mike McCarthy has to win at least one playoff game to keep his job, you'd think. Number 6. Minnesota Vikings. Last time's ranking, 8. Consider yourselves lucky, Minnesota Vikings fans. That's all we can say. Minus 3-point differential, and yet your team still finished 13-4? That is unsustainable, and regression is undeniably inevitable for 2023. But that's all for another year. Right now, you can celebrate the franchise's first NFC North Division title since 2017. Minnesota will host a playoff game for the first time since the Minneapolis Miracle game against New Orleans during the 2017 divisional round. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook round out a top-flight unit. But how will a D that finished 28th in scoring hold up in the playoffs? That is going to be the main question for Kevin O'Connell's group. Luckily, the Giants' offense isn't exactly a juggernaut, so the Vikings at least have a semi-friendly wildcard round matchup here. Number 5. Cincinnati Bengals. Last time's ranking, 4. The Bengals thankfully beat the Baltimore Ravens at home on Sunday to avoid the pathetic scenario of a coin toss to decide home advantage for their wildcard round showdown. The AFC North champions will be the rightful hosts of the first ever playoff meeting between these two clubs. Proving last season was no fluke, Joe Burrow and the Bengals' prolific offense paved the way to a 12-win campaign. But make no mistake, after losing a heartbreaker to the Rams in last year's Super Bowl, it's simply championship or bust for this year's Bengals. Joe Burrow is 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs, so we know that nobody in the AFC scares these Bengals. Regardless of the record, we can confidently state that Cincy has as much of a chance of winning as anybody else in the AFC. Number 4. Kansas City Chiefs. Last time's ranking, 5. The Chiefs made easy work of the Las Vegas Raiders to clinch the number 1 seed for the 3rd time in 5 years. Of course, things will be different this time around if the Chiefs play Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. The league would hold that contest at a neutral site, so KC won't have the electrifying crowd behind them. Kansas City either gets Miami, Baltimore, the Chargers, or Jacksonville at home in the divisional round. Win that game, and they're in the Final Four for the 5th straight year. Oh, and of course, Patrick Mahomes essentially locked up his 2nd career MVP award. So much for thinking that the Chiefs' offense would regress after trading Tyreek Hill. Like the Bengals, of course, it's Super Bowl or bust for KC. That is just how much the bar has been raised with Mahomes at quarterback. Number 3. Philadelphia Eagles. Last time's ranking, 3. The Philadelphia Eagles lost both games with backup Gardner Minshew starting in place of an injured Jalen Hurts. No harm, no foul though. Hurts returned in Week 18 and led the Eagles to a victory over the Giants to clinch the NFC East division as well as the conference's top seed. So, the 14-3 Eagles finish as the number 1 seed for the first time since, well, their Super Bowl 52 championship season. It's simply hard to find a flaw on this Philly team that has finished 3rd in scoring offense and 8th in scoring D. Miles Sanders, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith each put up over 1,000 yards of offense, and the defense posted an insane 70 sacks on the season. Now, we just wait and see if this star-studded Philly team is ready for the grand stage. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Last time's ranking, 2. Playing with heavy hearts for Damar Hamlin, the Bills defeated the Patriots 35-23 to send their longtime division rivals packing, setting the stage for a wildcard showdown with the Dolphins. Nyheim Hines was the star of the show, scoring touchdowns on 2 kick returns against the Patriots' elite special teams group. Josh Allen and the defense handled the rest in an emotional victory. With the win, Buffalo finishes 13-3 and locks down the 2nd seed in the AFC. One day after Buffalo's unforgettable win over New England, Hamlin was discharged from the hospital. If your team isn't in the postseason, how can you not cheer for Hamlin in the Bills? Number 1, San Francisco 49ers. Last time's ranking, 1. 49ers fans need to stop critiquing Kyle Shanahan. This was far and away the best coaching job of his career. The 49ers lost starter Trey Lance to a fractured ankle in Week 2 and Jimmy Garoppolo in Week 12 to a foot injury. The results? Just a 13-4 finish and the NFC West Division title, all thanks to a 10-game winning streak to close out the season. The Nick Bosa-led defense finished first in scoring, allowing just 16.3 points per game. And as a wise person once said, defense wins championships. Brock Purdy, the 2022 NFL Mr. Irrelevant, actually proved to be quite relevant after taking over the starting duties. George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel rounded out an explosive 3-headed receiving monster, and trade deadline pickup Christian McCaffrey added yet another element to this offensive juggernaut. Throw in a top-tier O-line led by future Hall of Famer Trent Williams, and you have a near-flawless team that looks even better than the 2019 squad that was half a quarter away from winning it all. Everything came together for the 49ers in the regular season. But it's going to be all for naught if they don't win the Super Bowl. Is this the year that they finally break through? But who do you think is the team to beat heading into the 2022-2023 NFL postseason? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.